It's FoosTalk Live.
You talking to me?
Compelling and lively banter.
Are you going to talk to us?
Talking foosball.
Foosball was how I measured my value as a man. You took that away.
Players and fans, promoters and pros. Unedited and raw.
Talk.
Living in the moment.
We have a lot of important things to talk about.
All while practicing social distancing.
Cool. We'll talk. No big whoop.
Let's get this thing started. FoosTalk Live. Right about now, you'd probably be getting ready to grab your wraps and head out to play some foosball. Maybe at your local DYP or your best buddy's basement for some foosball trash-talking pickup games. Well, since that's not really something we can do, let's talk. Yeah, let's talk about foosball. It's called FoosTalk Live. I'm Tom Robinson of Foosball Radio, and we have teamed up with Inside to go live to chat about our favorite sport, foosball. And first, allow me to introduce my co-host, a man who really needs no introduction. I'd like to welcome to the show one of the world's greatest play-by-play foosball commentators. Please welcome Jim Stevens. Hello, Jim.
Oh, thank you, Tom. Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. So here it is, the first episode of FoosTalk Live, and we're essentially flying by the seat of our pants. Everything works, right?
We really are. And of course, oftentimes with these sort of things, it's a trial and error thing. We've done as much preparation as we possibly could, but there's always something, isn't there, that we need to address and
it's
fix.
There's always that, right? We have to figure out where the buttons go and how they work and all that kind of thing. So,
But yes, I'm really excited about this and about the potential for this, about interacting with foosball players around the world and kind of finding out where they're at during these difficult times. And of course, we're going to talk lots of positive stuff as well.
Right, exactly. Well, the other thing that I do want to make mention of, and I think we can hear a little bit of practice going on in the background, I do want to welcome along two other very familiar voices for foosball radio fans. First of all, I want to welcome Nino Dijon. Nino, are you with us?
What's up, guys?
Hey,
how are you, man?
I wondered who was practicing there in the background.
That's Junior here practicing away.
Of course it is. And happy birthday, Sam.
Thank you.
Sam's got a 12th birthday going. So what was on the cake for your birthday today, Sam?
No cake yet. No cake yet.
No cake?
Not
He's
yet.
got to earn his cake. He's got to do 100 snake shots to each corner.
He's got to put in his hours first.
Understood. Well, the 12th birthday only happens once, but hope he enjoys it. So now the other person that we want to welcome to the show, of course, is someone that everybody's very familiar with when it comes to foosball radio. It's Chuck Dooley.
Hey, Tom, how you
Chuck,
doing?
you with it?
I am here.
Yeah, excellent. And just to let everybody know that you can also refer to Chuck as Super Chuck. That's something we like to refer to Chuck, especially around the foosball table.
Super
Hey,
Chuck, happy Chuck.
There you go. Nice to hear your voice, Chuck.
I got a lot of nicknames, I think. Some of them are good, some are bad.
Well, we don't need to go there.
First of all, welcome everybody here in FoosTalk Live to our first episode. I mean, this is a momentous occasion. Of course, I wish I had a cake for everybody, but we'd have to send it through the mail or something. But it's certainly nice to be able to get together, and because we can't play necessarily, we're going to talk about it. So, first of all, Nino, if you'd like to kick it off, I'd like to ask you, what are you doing to get by in these tough days when we can't get out?
It's tough mentally. I mean, everybody, we're down here practicing. We practice every other day. Try to keep going and stay motivated. It's a grind.
Right. Now, of course, Sam would have been competing in a lot of tournaments coming up, and so what's going to happen to the points when it comes to Sam's career this year?
we'll have to see what happens with the tour. I mean, that's kind of where we're at right now. I think everybody's on pause. As everybody's paused, then we'll have to see what happens.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
And if I could be so bold as to impose, Sam could kind of kill the practice for a moment here. It's tough to hear everybody talk, but we can always get back to that later.
well, he can always keep
Sorry.
practicing. Just Nino needs to move away from the table.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Yeah.
Been out of the
I
way.
was hearing a lot of missed shots.
He shot a bag of 70 balls, so I'm trying to
Okay,
pull
I
him out
got you.
of the
I
table.
got you. So
It helps
Chuck,
when they all go in the goal, though.
Yeah.
yeah, that's perfect practice. So Chuck, how about you? What do you do to cope with this current dilemma where we can't go out and compete?
Well, it kind of sucks for me, Tom. I mean, I'm used to going out and doing things. I hit the gym 4 times a week, and like to just get out and do things. And
Right.
I can't do anything. I can't go anywhere. I can't even go over to a friend's house and play foosball. It's tough. It's like Nino says, it's mentally
Good.
draining. I'm not much of a
Yeah.
TV watcher either, so that's doesn't have much time to occupy my time with that either.
Time
So-
You got to watch
But,
some Inside Foods videos.
There you go. Thanks.
I've been
You know,
doing-
we're
I've
on
been-
the same page.
I always watch videos every night, so that's a given.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, so Jim, I know that you've been doing a lot of work lately when it comes to being involved with the foosball scene because of Inside Foos TV. I've got to say, I've been watching some of your videos. One of my favorites so far is a compilation of shots that Tony Sprademan has done over the years. The pass pull kick?
Yeah, the quick strike pull kick where he passes it usually through that far lane and then immediately goes into the pull kick. That was put together by one of our Inside Foods TV content creators. It was also, of course, done stats for us over the years. Very talented guy, and you can look for more from Clay Toomey. He's got some other things in the works. Nobody knows that complete collection of Inside Foods better than he does, and he's been kind of skimming through it and picking things out, whether they're funny things, whether they're big time Ryan Moore pull shots from goal, whatever. And he's going to be providing us with more compilations as time goes by here.
Gotcha.
I have to say, Jim, thank you for all the work you're doing because at least you putting out those videos and those little compilations, it's killing some time. I mean, that you haven't.
Yeah, it's everything, Chuck. Everything's changed for me. I'm not traveling. I mean, I'm not working events as we usually do, and then providing live coverage or edited, recorded videos from the event. So I've had to find other things to do, and I've really been wanting to invest more time in Inside Foods TV. One of the things this year that has kind of been my mantra has been that I want to put the sport of table soccer in front as many eyes as I possibly can through the lens of Inside Foods. And so
Right.
the ability, the time, although I've got 2 kids at home 24/7, an 8-year-old and a 5-year-old, but to be able to put the time into the channel, create content, because that's really what it's all about, getting a lot of help from other people who are providing content and providing help, it's really almost been a godsend. Not that it's a positive circumstances, but the fact that I have been able to really focus on Inside Foods TV and providing content both from the classic stuff and from these compilations, these interviews I've done. I've done 4 of these interviews now with, I did one with Joe Hessling, with Rob Mares, with Tony Sprademan, and one with Tom Yor that we'll be releasing here the next week. And it's just all about content. I mean, I basically own a TV channel, right? So,
Right.
and also maybe breaking in with some news from the newsroom, from the studio. So just trying to provide content and keep everybody out there entertained and informed as much as we possibly can. Again, through the lens of Inside Foods.
And so, Jim, what is the status currently? I mean, there's so far we know that Texas States has been canceled. Of course, the Hall of Fame had to be canceled. What other big tournaments are you positive about as far as what their status?
Positive, I think we can go as far forward as Texas State. And I think anything that was scheduled up until then, certainly if it hasn't been announced as canceled, it will be. And then moving into June, I know talking with Mary Moore, she said she would be announcing about nationals on May 1st.
Okay.
We would be moving forward with that. And that would be the last weekend of June. So you can see that that's in doubt, and that's a good 2.5 months from now. So, in my opinion, I have to think that we really aren't going to get going again, maybe until the month of July at the very earliest.
Wow. Wow. July.
I have to agree with you, Jim. I mean, it's at least 2 3 months away before they can even get an idea where this is going. So
Yep.
I have to agree.
Yeah. And so much of just getting through all of this is taking everything literally one day at a time, right? One moment at a time almost. And that's kind of how we have to take everything. Today we know what's happening. Tomorrow things might change in a variety of ways. But for me, I'm hoping that July is the month that we get back to work. I've got an event scheduled down in Florida with Tommy Brewer in South Florida that I would be attending, and I'd love to go to Florida. So we'll see about that. And then, of course, the Bart O'Hearn celebration at the end of July is somewhat in doubt. The Battle in the Mountains in early August. These are all events I'm scheduled to work, but well, time will tell.
Right. No
Hopefully you
doubt.
can, Jim. I mean, we'd love to see those events take place and many others.
Yeah, of course, as would I. But again, we take it one. We don't want to come back too soon. And even when you think about it, coming out the other end of this, coming up from underground, or however you want to phrase it, it's going to be a little difficult, perhaps, for some people to get back into that sort of a social situation. We are right now. Nobody wants to. We are all hunkered down in our houses, and to have that mindset of getting back among a lot of people may be a difficult one at first, and maybe something we sort of have to gradually transition into.
Right. Yeah. No, nothing is going to come back
And,
overnight. That's for sure.
No, it isn't.
and I
It isn't.
imagine
But
it's gonna vary by region. I mean, where we are in New York, I mean, you don't really want to be going outside and commingling right now. But a lot of places in the country, it's not as bad. So it's probably happen a little
no,
sooner.
that's true. I live in a town of 17,000 in a county of about 40,000, literally in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing within 100 or 200 miles of us, and we have about 40 confirmed cases here so far. And I don't expect that it's going to be terrible here because we are so isolated. But and I also think in New York, where you are, it kind of hit early, so maybe that curve will flatten out a little earlier in the Northeast than it will in other parts of the country, California, for example. But again, we will see. And meanwhile, I live in a beautiful place. We are allowed to actually get out and hike the trails if we want to, and there's literally a different trail for every day of the year here around Durango
That's great.
that we can get out to get the kids out, work off some energy, and get some exercise. So we've been trying to do that every single day, and it's been beautiful here. It's about 65 and clear blue skies and just lovely here in the mountains. So we are
Uh,
able to get out as long as we stay a minimum of 6 feet away from everyone else.
Jim, I hear tell that you can see heaven from your front porch.
Yeah, I literally can. Yes, I can. In the evenings here, because we are at 7,000 feet, the sky is just incredibly filled with stars, and it's also one of the darkest areas in the country. So, yeah, we get tremendous views of the heavens each and every night.
Right. No, it's Colorado has a unique perspective being so high up in the sky like that. So yeah, and I had altitude sickness in Denver once, so I know what that's all about.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
so, no, what I'm very curious when it comes to this interruption in the tour. What's normally happening? People when they compete, they gain points. This kind of thing. What do you think? I mean, it's hard to predict, but what do you think would be the best way to make it fair when things do kick in again? How do you adjust for the point system? What happens there?
I'm not sure you can necessarily. I think you probably just have to sort of pick up where you've left off because I don't think there's a simple answer to that. The other thing also is this is a qualification year heading into next year's World Cup. So missing
Right.
all of these events, which some of which would have been qualifiers, I guess we're going to have to sort of concentrate those qualifiers, going into the World Cup of next year, World Championships next year. And so that may be a bit of a challenge, but I think it's one that's manageable. As far as the point system goes, I don't know how you can, make the adjustments necessary to account for, what we're going through here. So,
Right.
we will see. Yeah, I'm hoping that lots of players at home are getting their reps in, working that wall lane series, working the long middle straights, doing lots of repetitions, as I'm sure Sam DeJohn is, and getting that sort of practice. And of course, at Inside Foos TV, the Inside Foos TV Facebook group, we put out the challenge for those players who are sequestered with another foosball player
Mm-hmm.
to play a match, a serious match, play for something. And the most entertaining and competitive one will be commentated by me and put up on the channel, which I
That's
think would
cool.
be kind of so. Nino and Sam, I'm waiting for that one to come
Yeah.
in. Looking forward to that. So
I,
schedule that, would you guys?
Yeah, I think they actually they must have gone to Sam's birthday party because they've bailed out of
All
Foos
right.
Talk Live. And incidentally, if you've just joined us, I do see we've got some listeners here. Thank you so much for joining us. This is Foos Talk Live, the first edition thereof. It's an experiment, I guess is the best way to put it. But of course, because we can't play against each other, at least we can talk about what we're up to and kind of keep in touch that way. We'd like to do this on a regular basis, and of course, we'd like to have your feedback too. I know that our email system at Foosball Radio is available, and of course, you could use Jim. What's your email address? What would you like to give that out?
InsideFoos1 @gmail.com. Inside Foods and
Excellent.
the number one @gmail.com. Yeah,
And
I welcome absolutely any questions, comments, anything else. We'd love to hear from you.
how
And
about
again,
this?
it's Tom. Yeah, go ahead, Tom.
I'm just going to say, how about we start soliciting some topics that people would like to talk about?
I think that's a great idea. And again, as you mentioned, we'd
I
love to
think I got
continue to
one,
do
Tom.
this.
You got one, Chuck?
Here we go.
I think I do. I know that Jim has recently switched the mode of presenting his videos from NetFoos TV to Inside Foos TV on YouTube. And I wonder if he'd just explain it a little bit more, to people that maybe aren't familiar with it yet, and what it all entails, and what you're getting a subscription to your stuff. How would that all happen, and how's it work now?
Well, certainly the business model has changed a little bit. I was at netfoods.tv for, I guess, 10 or 12 years. That was NetFoods run by Mark Winker down in Florida. And Mark started live streaming with me back in the mid 2000s doing foosball tournaments. He then married a Christian woman and had the idea that, I think maybe we can develop a system for streaming church services as he began to go to church on a regular basis. And so he built a company called Sunday Streams. Netfoos.tv was part of that. We used the same servers. We were part of that. But he was so successful with it that this past year he sold it and hopefully made a tidy sum on it. But that was the end of netfoods.tv. However, at the same time, I was already beginning to sort of segue over to doing all free live streaming. And YouTube seemed to be the best platform for that. We already had the channel. We already had a built-in subscribership of 4,000 to 5,000. We are now almost at 8,000 and rising quickly.
Nice.
But we've gone completely over again, putting it in front of as many eyeballs as we possibly can through the free YouTube app and the Inside Foos TV channel. And so that's kind of where we are here. Now, also, if you really love foosball, as I know you do, Chuck, and as Nino does, and Sam, the people who want to have every single match that I record during the course of a year, the Inside Foos subscription, that gets you literally everything that we record, whereas you're basically just watching live on YouTube. If you want the recorded stuff, you become a subscriber to Inside Foos. And again, we are even transitioning over the next year or two to sort of a different format for that as well. A lot of things happening, sort of with Inside Foos TV, InsideFoos.com. That we're having to keep up with the times, the changes. There's so much free content out there that we had to kind of compete with that.
Right.
And I think it's for the good. I think it's for the good.
Yeah. No, a lot of people getting on board with getting their matches out there. I know you noticed a lot of regional tournaments and also the DYPs that happen once a week. They have their cameras set up and you can watch them from afar. I mean, what a great trend! It's such a cool idea.
Well, it is, and that's a lot of what has been going on. Is we're seeing so much interaction now, like you say, with people posting their foosball rooms as we asked them to do it
Oh yeah,
at the Inside Foos TV group, and really amazing.
That was a good one.
There's some amazing foosball rooms, aren't there? And so we had that, and then of course the matches. And each week we're going to try to come up with a challenge for people to respond to and come up with something to just create more content, create more interaction. and strengthen the community. Because I do believe that we are going to be stronger in many ways as a community, as
Right.
people coming out of the other end of this. I mean, we're being forced to make some major adjustments to our lives. And I think in a lot of ways that's going to greatly benefit not only the foosball scene, but just civilization generally.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
That would
No,
be
I
great.
got to say, in just in deference to the competition or people sending us their of course the foosball rooms, I got to say that Sam and Nino, they got probably in one of the top 10 foosball rooms that I've seen so far. That's a bias of mine, by the way.
No, it's an unbiased opinion here as well. No, they do. They do. They do.
So Nino, how
They
many more
definitely got
tables?
all the tables.
Yeah.
We have one more. We have one more when this mess is over, and then we have all 5 that we need for competing in the World Cup and the World Championships until they add another one. So then we're gonna have to knock down a couple walls and put some other. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do.
Which I'm sure you will do, of course. So
There's a
guys,
call
quick
for it, for sure.
quick question here. How old do you think Sam's going to be when he first plays for the men's World Cup team? 14, 15? What do you think?
I would love to see it at 14, 15, but I doubt it. He's got a lot of growing to do.
Well, he's going to be He's going to be 13 at the next one, so I'll say 15.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's realistic. Certainly the junior stuff for sure, obviously. But I tell you, the way that his game is coming, he's going to be maybe the youngest ever on the men's team. And we need some new blood, don't we? I think the average age of the men's World Cup team is something like 50, 52.
And
love to see it. Love to see it for sure.
And Sullivan Rue, I mean, she's going to be
absolutely.
relatively young. I mean, she has played in the World Cup, but as a junior.
Nope, she
No,
played as
she played
an adult.
in the women's. Yeah,
Won a gold medal.
The women's.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha.
She won a gold medal with Team USA last year. A great
Awesome
performance,
stuff.
and it was super.
Yeah.
There's nothing like the World Cup. There really isn't. It is, as Nino and Sam know, it's just way beyond anything else there is. It's really just such a great spectacle. The competition, the diversity. It's so much like the Olympic Village when you're there. You get to talk with players, many of whom don't speak English, but you all speak the language of foosball.
Yeah.
It really is special. And if those of you listening, if you've never do it, you need to, one way or the other, either as a player or a fan. It's a tremendous experience. So we're going to be back in Nantes next year, which is really the best home, the best place. That's Farid Lounis's hometown. He's the president of the ITSF, and they really put on a show there. And we get 2,000 people coming in off the street to watch this in the town. So
Interesting. Interesting. Well, it's when it comes to the World Cup in general, it really does all of a sudden seem like a global village of foosball, because it just seems like there's everybody knows about it. Everybody knows about it.
They really do. They really do. It is, and you look at the numbers, even the crossover numbers of viewership are outside the community. There are millions of viewers who just hear about, there's a World Cup of table soccer.
Right.
Follow the link and find out about it. It's been great. Farid Lounis has done some great work with the ITSF in uniting the world, and the World Cup itself, the event itself, is really his shining glory as the head of that very important federation.
Maybe somebody we should get onto FoosTalk Live sometime if that would be possible. That'd be a cool idea to have a perspective like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, especially as we head into the next one next year already.
Yeah.
Which seems like a long time away right now.
With everything going on, that's for sure.
Right, and if things got off track, would they have to reschedule even a year out? I mean, it doesn't seem like that would be possible, but who knows?
Yeah. So are we? We're trying to encourage anyone out there listening to go ahead and join us if you'd like. We'd love to hear about what your experience is during this difficult time, and kind of everything related to foosball, of course. That's what we're here for. But we'd love to hear from you. If you'd like to call in, I think you just push that button at the top of the screen. Is that right, Tom?
Yeah, I think it says join in, something like that on the screen.
Call in, yeah.
Call in.
Yeah, call in number 4. Yeah, anybody.
Yep, call in number 4.
No,
we have Brad, we have Matt, we have Clay. They're all in the studio, so to speak, listening. So first come, first serve, guys. If you want to jump in and join us.
Who's going to press that button first?
Don't be bashful.
Nobody likes us. Hey.
Yeah, what's going on with that?
Well, I guess we don't need them to talk. We've been able to
Oh, here
kill some time on.
we've got Matt. Hello, Matt.
Hello. Oh, I didn't think it was going to connect.
Yeah.
It said to put on a
You're
headset.
So
Yeah,
welcome
it
to
said to put
Foos.
on a headset so there's no echo. So
Right. So
All right.
welcome to FoosTalk Live, Matt. Are you one of us? Are you Matt McCrory by any chance?
Another New Yorker.
Now
Try
we're
without the headset.
yeah. Try without the headset. We lost your signal.
Yeah, it's Matt McCrory.
Is this Matt?
Yeah.
Gotcha,
Hi,
Matt.
Matt.
So how are things in Buffalo these days?
So I was running 2 events a week, and now I
Yes.
haven't touched a table in 1 week, and that was the first time in a month. So it's basically been a couple hours on a table for the last month and a half.
Wow.
It's been
Wow.
pretty
Your
bad.
event, your event up there, the IFB event that was scheduled for Buffalo, was canceled a week or 2 ago as well, and I know you were involved with that.
I wasn't personally, but I was keeping abreast with it because a lot of my players up here really were excited to participate, and it'll happen eventually. But yeah, that was a bummer. But I'm just trying to see how I can time it, kind of like timing the stock market. It's like when should I plan ahead or not? But I think it'll be a lot sooner than if you're watching the news all day. It's
Starting
I think the prospect. Yeah, I think it's going to be.
change. So, given normal times, what kind of a player base in Buffalo? How many people usually come out for your weekly events?
Well, my longest running event is a Monday night, and it's really like a happy hour type event. So it's not a tournament, and I get a lot of participation out of that. I get 16 players a week.
Nice.
Mostly beginners, pretty much all beginners actually.
Mostly beginners. Now, how does that give us an idea? Because we're having trouble finding beginners. they show up and they see Sam Dijon playing, and they kind of go, yeah, thanks, bye.
Well, I'm sure you've heard people say, you have to keep the pros away for at least a certain amount of time while they're coming up. And it's true. You just have to. I started off calling it a tournament, and I've since ditched that term. I tried a lot of different terms like beginner night, beginner tournament. I tried to do like pro tips and tricks. The hour before we start. Do some like a clinic, but really it's just you just have to make something not be a tournament, just come out and play for 2 hours. Nothing crazy. The best part about our Monday night is Monster DYP. I can schedule it. It's going to last 2 hours. People know exactly how long people are going to be there. So that's helped a lot.
Yeah, no, I'd be interested to know how many other groups out there that are using Monster DYP, because we've been doing that at the 518 now for a while, and it's really very successful. People seem to really like it.
Yeah, they're just too many. They're just way more pros than cons. For the experienced players, they really don't like it. I didn't like playing in it when I first started messing around with it, but it's the best thing for an organizer.
Gotcha.
And like you were saying before, one of the best things about it is you can time it. You can start it when you want and end it when you want, no matter how many people show up.
Yeah. Yeah, and a nice thing is it's one of the few formats where you don't have to worry about having an odd number ever. So,
Correct. Yeah.
You
No,
could be
it's
an
great.
hour
And
late, you could be yeah.
yeah, there's just so much freedom to it.
Well, Matt, Jim Stevens here. It sounds like you said you haven't been playing a lot of foosball. What have you been doing? Watching a lot of movies? Binge watching Tiger King? What are you doing?
Hello, Matt. I
Uh-oh.
think we lost Matt.
Yep.
I think I was right about the Tiger King.
Uh-oh.
I think you gave him a suggestion. He just ran off to it, Jim.
Well,
All right. Well, that should open up a line, and we'd love to hear from someone else.
yeah, we got to thank Matt for joining. That was great to hear from Matt McCrory in Buffalo. He represents the 716, which is the group that he promotes. And if you're ever in Buffalo, look him up. And definitely, when things get better, of course, I highly recommend you go and see them and get a chance to play with them.
Yeah. Welcome to Jim
I will
and a bunch
say,
of New Yorkers.
Yeah.
if anybody wants to start a promotion, a new promotion somewhere where there's not any foozers, talk to Matt because he's done miracles in Buffalo. He went from 0 players to he's got 20, 30 players now.
Very
No
strong
kidding.
foosball man. Yeah, very strong foosball man, and a really good player as well.
Right.
By the
So,
way, guys, real quick,
Yeah.
and I want to do this every Friday night. I'm enjoying right now, and those of you who know me know I'm an IPA guy. I love to drink IPAs, and right
Nice.
now I've got a Melvin 2x4 double IPA from Alpine, Wyoming. That is really good. It's really good, and you may find out how good here in the next few minutes. But I'm going to try to enjoy a different beer every Friday night with you guys. Kind of hang out
Okay.
with my favorite New Yorkers, and
I'm definitely
talk
down with
foosball.
that.
All right, I got to ask you, Jim, what's the alcohol content?
It's 10.1, buddy.
Oh.
It's a hearty one. Yeah.
Wow.
It's the kind of beer you
That's gonna
don't
have some
start the
kick.
night with. So you have a few lesser ones, and then you top it off with one of these. But I do enjoy IPAs everywhere I go. People bring me regional, local IPAs because they do know I enjoy them. I don't enjoy more than about 2 per night, and not every
Okay.
night.
Nice.
But it's
Well,
become part of my thing.
I'm up to the challenge. There's no question about that.
Sure.
Hey, I do want to welcome another person into our discussion here. Brad is with us. And Brad, thanks for joining FoosTalk Live. How are you?
Hi, this is Brad. I'm a first-time caller.
Long time listener.
That voice sounds
Jim
familiar
Stevens.
to me.
We know that guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought it might be. I don't know.
Let me tell you a little bit about.
It's the Inside Food second chair.
Yeah. Nobody has worked more Inside Foods matches with me than Mr. Brad Anderson. Some of the biggest matches in history, and a great partner, great friend. And also, here's one other thing. I guess it's been about 20 years now, Brad. Right? Brad created what was then called Table Sports Radio, and he would actually. And I don't even remember which platform you used, but we did radio shows from events and oftentimes between events, and it was a lot of fun.
I was doing
Tom. He's a pioneer, Tom.
Doing podcasts before there was a thing called podcasts.
Nice. And now, how did you get that out to people? What was the medium that you used?
Well, this is prior to the days of streaming, so
Yes.
you had to go out. The shows were basically recorded during an event, during a day. We tried to do one every day of an event, and I'd kind of piece them together.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd have to find some Wi-Fi someplace.
Got
and I usually end up paying for it.
Was there
So
Wi-Fi?
it was very much of a shoestring thing, but it was a lot of fun. It was for me, it was going into it. I knew absolutely nothing about broadcasting, about audio editing, anything like that. But it was something I thought was needed, and it was a lot of fun doing it.
No, it's interesting because when you first step out into something like that, how do you attract an audience? What were you doing? Were you just sending out notices by email?
Primarily just putting the word out, like message boards, things like that. Because again, this is 2004, and again, there wasn't any streaming, and in fact, there was very little information coming out of the tournaments other than people might call their friends at home and kind of give them an idea what was going on at the event. But not really much information other than that. So
Okay.
I just kind of had the idea that one day, but I figured you could put something together, basically a laptop and a microphone,
Mm-hmm.
and it got slightly more involved than that, but not much.
Well, you're very forward thinking, and of course, you're way ahead of the pack on that one for sure.
You know.
And
And it
now
was
everybody-
primarily, I say, it was primarily set up to be downloaded. So again,
Yeah.
it wasn't streamed or anything like that. So
Oh, that's
pretty
great.
low bandwidth, but it was fun. I learned a lot doing it.
Well,
And Jim
as a
helped me out
radio-
a tremendous amount.
Well, yeah, it was a lot of fun. It really was. And as a
Yeah.
radio pioneer, a foosball radio pioneer, maybe we'd love to have you join us with features. Maybe there's something you could do for us here at FoosTalk Live as well. One other interesting story, because Brad and I both grew up as radio guys. We love baseball. We love listening to baseball on the radio. We love the radio, period. But in 2006, we traveled over to Italy to do the World Championships for the first time. It was October of 2006. And the multi-table ITSF World Championships were in the mountains of Italy. And we got in there intending to stream. Of course, we were going to record the videos of the matches. But we got there and the internet was almost non-existent. And the only thing we could do, if you remember, Brad, the only thing we could do was to send out an audio stream at that time, in 2006. And we did only audio. We did a live stream, but it was as if you were listening on the radio. And certainly Brad and I both did our radio style of commentary. It was actually pretty dang good.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Really very low bandwidth connection there. So that was about all we had. But if you listen to Jim long enough, he can do, radio play-by-play style. I've seen. In fact, I'll tell you a little secret. Jim Stevens can call a match and not even be watching it.
Brad. The next thing
He's good. He's good.
Next thing you're going to tell me I use
that's how good he is.
Microphone.
I like to think of myself as the Steve Stone to Jim Stevens, Hawk Harrelson.
Hey, Brad, I have to imagine you've got a Jim Stevens story or two, don't you?
Yeah.
I got a couple.
Let's start with one.
Later on.
Remember that non-disclosure, Brad. Remember the non-disclosure.
Oh, hold on. I got to go through the files to find that.
Uh-oh. I could be in trouble here, folks.
Okay, here's a question, Jim. In all fairness, is there such a thing as trash talking in commentating? Do you do that?
Oh God, yes. Oh, of course. That was one of the staples early on, and Brad started working with me. I want to say 2000, right around there, Brad. 2000, 2001.
2005, I think.
Was it
Nationals?
later?
I think 2005 was the first one.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'm only off by 5 years. But no, of course, part of my shtick used to be that I was picking on my color man. That's just part of it. And if you ever heard any of the matches I've done with Mark Torres, it goes both ways. And again, Mark Torres.
I used to love Mark Torres.
Yeah, I used to also. But I often say, Brad was always very consistently good. Just a consistent color man. With Mark Torres could be the best I've ever had, but also the worst.
Okay.
Correct.
So, but there were times, sure, we would banter. There is absolutely trash talking in the booth, more than you may know.
There was no filter.
Jim, I was thinking about that statement when you said that, and I'm going to make another baseball reference here.
Mm-hmm.
Is that Mark Torres is like the Chuck Knobloch, where you make a fantastic pick in the infield and then just throw the ball into the stands.
Yeah. Oh, that's Mark. That is absolutely Mark.
Love it.
We hope you're listening, Mark. But,
you just can't take
Mark's a
it
good
too
guy.
seriously. That's the whole idea.
now also,
I just like
real quick.
Right by the
throwing out
door.
obscure baseball.
Yeah. We could go obscure
Just
baseball
throwing
all
out
night
obscure
long here.
baseball references here.
But also, if you noticed in the movie Foosballers, Brad Anderson also makes several appearances in the World Championship segments. He was there that year doing the commentary with me, and
Right.
there are a couple of quotes from you in there, Brad. You've watched the movie, I assume. Your family
Yes,
now
I
thinks
did.
you're a movie
Yes.
star, and but Brad is in foosballers.
Awesome.
I'm
That's
looking
very
to set up
cool.
a. I'm going to be looking for my name in the IMDb database pretty soon.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're probably getting residuals for that too, right?
Yeah,
Right.
right.
Don't open
Just
up
like
that
just
topic,
like from all
please,
the
Josh.
Inside Foods videos.
Well, it is. It's certainly worth the download. There's no doubt about that. It's a fantastic movie, and I got to say, last summer when we took the trip to New York City to watch that was just it was moving. Just a great experience.
Yeah, it was for me as well. I literally had tears in my eyes. I think the first half hour or so of it, just
Yes. Yep.
just enjoying how well he treated us and the sport in general.
Yeah, no, it's amazing that after all this time, finally somebody with that kind of pull and that kind of talent was gave the due that foosballs deserved all along. It's odd it's taken this long, but it's finally happened. Thank goodness.
Yeah, for sure. You did a great job with us. Well, hey, Brad, great to hear your voice. I'd like to hear it more often. Brad's up in St. Paul, Minnesota, where the weather,
St.
I'm
Paul,
assuming the
Minnesota.
weather is starting to warm, although you don't leave the house
Yeah,
much.
not so as you'd notice, but I did have the convertible out the other day, so
Nice.
there's hope. There's hope.
Did you have to wear a winter coat while you did that?
No, we actually had a nice day. It was like low 60s, and that was good enough. So,
Very cool.
but I definitely can pass on some Jim Stevens stories. Heartwarming.
Okay.
Well, we got time. We got time here.
Thanks for nothing, buddy.
I'm going to save some of this stuff. But we can actually, again, something Jim and I always talk about. I think virtually every tournament we're at. Again, you guys were talking about the World Cup earlier, and I was privileged enough to be able to be at the very first World Cup in 2006 in Hamburg, and we still talk about it to this day. That it was just such an experience, and I mean, we will never forget it. And in my opinion, it changed football globally, where it finally, for the first time, pulled players from all over the world. I mean, there were from China, from South Africa. I mean, there were from everywhere, and it was just an amazing event. And
Yeah.
again, I
was.
that was the only one I was able to make it to, but man, if you can go, it's such an experience.
I agree with you. I mean, it used to be you'd see like a couple players from Europe, maybe a couple Canadians, and not much in the international playing in our tournaments. Now you see people from all over. I mean, South America, Europe, China,
Well, that event
over in Dubai.
that event we titled it was a clash of styles. I mean, there was the different tables of different regions of different parts of the world. They all play differently, and they all met in that one place. And
There were no multi-table players yet.
Huh.
No, there were no multi-table players. Everybody was strong on their own table and not very good on the others. And Brad's talking about 2006. It was May of 2006 in Hamburg. That was the first time I ever went overseas to do a tournament. Since then, I believe the number is 48. I've been to Europe or internationally to cover 48 tournaments since that first one. And it's funny you brought that one up.
Rub it in.
We did this past Saturday. We did our retrospective of the Hall of Fame Classic. Kind of in honor of the canceled event in Vegas. In 3 weeks, we're going to plan on showing that match. The match that I consider is the greatest match in the history of table soccer was a Saturday night in Hamburg in May of 2006, USA versus France in the quarterfinals. Brad and I were on our feet for 4 hours. Well, I was on my feet for 4 hours. Brad actually stepped out about 3 hours into that match to take a break because the match was so long. Brandon Moreland came in with me for a little while, and then Brad finished the match. But it was the greatest night of foosball ever.
Wow.
Did Rob Atha step in for a little bit?
He might have also, yeah. And Brad was over reclining on the couch getting some rest. But it was, and so in 3 weeks, I believe it's 3 weeks, going to be on a Saturday. We're going to Saturday and Sunday even. I think we're going to do a 2-day event of showcasing this match, which was almost 4 hours in length, USA versus France. And again, I call it foosball's finest moment because as Brad said, it really changed everything. From then on, there was a whole different feel, a different look, a different sense of togetherness worldwide when it came to foosball. Very special night.
And we've both made a lot of good friends.
Yeah. Well, it's a connecting tissue of foosball that brings people together no matter what the language. That is the coolest thing. Speaking of which, I do want a shout out to Tanya from South Dakota. She just texted us to say hello from South Dakota and welcome Tanya,
Hi, Tanya.
to FoosTalk Live. What do you think, guys? Do you want to do this every week?
I'd love to. I love the idea of walking the tightrope of live radio, even when you get a guest on threatening to expose some of the inside of the inside.
We can bleep that out. We can bleep all that out.
No, Tom said it's raw, it's uncut.
Sorry. Yeah, it's and in fact,
mute button.
when you set up the live broadcast through Podbean, you have to indicate whether it's going to be obscene or not in advance.
No kidding. The Howard Stern button.
Speaking of Arcturus,
change our setting.
Well, Brad, again, great to hear your voice, buddy, and look forward to working.
Yeah, I'm going to clear a line
down the
here.
road somewhere. Yeah,
Gotcha.
clear a line, would you?
All right, well, Brad, thanks for joining us on FoosTalk Live. We'll have you back sometime soon. How's that sound?
All right. Good night, guys.
All right, Brad. Take care, Brad.
Thanks, Brad.
Well, FoosTalk Live is officially a thing, and it's great to have people listening in. I'm noticing quite a few here, so thank you so much for joining us. I know that Jim, your friend Clay Toomey is on. Now, Clay, would you like to join us?
Come on, Clay, jump on.
There he is. All right, Clay, welcome to FoosTalk Live. Hey, Clay. I know you're there.
Technical difficulties here, Tom.
I am here. I said so many good words that nobody heard because my mic wasn't turned on yet. So.
There you go.
He has all the best words too. By the way.
We're just working this thing out, man. We're trying to find out which buttons to push when. So it's good. You're along with the rest of us here. We're just flying by the seat of our pants. So
cool. Been there. Love it.
So welcome, Clay.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So I understand that you're a statistician.
Yeah, I punch in numbers on a spreadsheet and then it makes me look smarter than I am sometimes. Yeah,
Clay is amazing. There's something like 114 different stats that he can keep. He is the fastest typist I've ever seen. Something, what do you do, 140 words a minute, something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, it depends on the words.
So depends on the words, right? But he has brought so much to the Inside Foos product over the last few years that people love it. I love it. It gives me more to work with, and it really breaks the game down. Are the stats 100% correct? No, but it's still interesting to look at them.
Whoa! Of course they are. What do you mean?
They tell the story more often.
No disclaimer there.
Hey, Jim, I'm sorry to report you are 0 for 1 so far on that. That's not correct. They are. Maybe I do make a mistake on occasion.
Clay, you're the first one to tell me they aren't 100% accurate. In fact, I'm quoting you on that one.
Okay, 1 for 1 on quotes. All right, as you were.
So if I were to ask you a question like, okay, who scored the most pull shots in a championship event out of all the players, let's say for the last 15 years, would you be able to call that up, or is that something that you have to research?
I think I could make an educated guess. I wouldn't be able to give you like a hard number because I haven't gone back through the years to be able to pull like that many numbers.
Right.
I only started doing this in like 2016 is when I first just started making it all up. Like by that I mean I'm making the process up because I actually do use Excel. And my first tournament, I think what was it, 2017 when I actually started doing them at tournaments, Jim?
That sounds right. Yep.
For sure. So my records only go back like probably 3 or 4 years, but I do have the complete collection, which I do highly recommend at no commission of mine, by the way. I don't get anything from that, but I do like to go back and do old matches. So who knows? Maybe next time we talk, I could totally tell you that.
Okay, that'd be
We
fun.
could certainly make an educated guess on that one, though.
Sure.
I think it'd be a pretty easy one. I think Todd Lafredo probably has. Todd, I think we've estimated that he has shot something like 5 million pull shots in his career.
5 million.
My God.
Many of them successful. Most of them.
Yeah.
And so I
And
think
those are just in
question would
matches.
end up being. Yeah, exactly. But no, Todd is a freak, isn't he?
Always has been.
Yeah, absolutely, and really interesting character as well. Just a super nice guy, but just fascinating. Yeah, when we were talking to him on Foosball Radio, I asked him what would if you weren't a foosball player, what would you be? And he immediately, without even hesitating, said scientist.
I was thinking pizza delivery man, but
Well, I didn't know what kind of science. I mean, it could be it could be mixology or something like that. But
Right.
no.
I did want to say one more thing about Clay Toomey. And many of you, in fact, almost more than 6,000 of you have watched his video that we released last week about the Tony Sprademan quick strike pull kick. And Clay, a great content creator. Again, he mentioned he knows the complete collection inside and out. And Clay, what do you have on the table for us looking ahead here in the next week or two, as far as a potential compilation of videos go?
Well, something that I enjoy doing is finding all the funny stuff, like kind of what y'all alluded to in with Brad on the phone, all the kind of like jabs that you poke and just the funny things that happen in the booth that aren't necessarily foosball related, but they're still really fun. So I'm putting together one of those. It'll probably be a bit of a sequel to the one you uploaded that I made a couple years ago. So that's one of the ideas in the works. And another one, I really, everybody's fascinated by the Ryan Moore 2-bar, of course.
Yes.
So I think it would only make sense to put together like a nice compilation of all the just like crazy things that Ryan has done in legit real matches from his 2-bar, because he does like just a lot of insane stuff back there, and it's pretty circusy in my opinion, which I mean is a compliment. It's just freakish, the things that he can do from the 2-bar. He's very creative.
I'd love to see
innovative in what he does. So yeah, that's another one. And then
I'd love to see you do that, and Billy. Billy has a good 2-bar too. I'd love to see you do both.
Totally, yeah. Billy's a freak as well. So I could totally look at that. I think one of the more, I don't know how well it would be taken, but one of the things that I would personally like to do is to take a pretty in-depth look at Todd's 2-bar series, his left-hand 2-bar series, where he shoots it from the back, or and I'm talking about singles, by the way, or he passes it to the 2 or to the 5-bar or the 3-bar. Like he has like a zillion options when he does this left-hand 2-bar series in singles, which he didn't do as much now, but like 2016, 2017, 2018, he was doing a lot of it, and it's fascinating. So I think it'd be fun to do like a complete breakdown of just how many options he really has back there and how insanely efficient it is when he's doing that series. It's because it's really crazy how high return that series is, with very little risk, by the way.
Amazing.
We're looking forward to that.
Hey, Clay, I'd like to talk some more about the statistics.
Sure,
I'm really kind of amazed with the statistics. I love watching it when we're at the tournaments. Jim posts them up on the board there. Is there any way that you could publish those, like put them out on like even a Facebook or something? I mean, so that people could see them more.
Yeah, do you mean stats for like specific matches, or like the way that I keep them?
Well, whatever stats you have, specific matches or just people.
Yeah, I'm down to share everything that I have, whether it's matches I've already done or just the actual spreadsheets that are the method by which I keep the stats. I'm totally open to sharing everything that I have. So if there's anything,
I mean, I personally am fascinated.
Yeah, it's it's actually super simple to do too, believe it or not.
It looks like a lot of work. I mean, you got to be watching the whole time. You got to be paying attention and doing that.
That's true. Yeah,
plus,
you can't miss a ball. I've told Jim on several occasions, like if the match starts before I get situated, I'm not doing the match because if I miss even the first, ball, then or even the first possession, then the whole match is, for lack of a
Skewed.
better term, compromised. It's just not going to matter from that point. So. But yeah, I love watching foosball, so it's actually kind of fun for me to just sit and watch and not miss a ball because I'm genuinely a fan of the game. So that part's easy for me. And then the rest of it, once I figured out how to do it, it's kind of, like I said, it's kind of simple. It's kind of easy to do. So
Yeah,
Looking
I
for the
appreciate you doing it.
yeah,
Yeah.
my pleasure, dude. Definitely my pleasure.
one of our
Guys,
viewers, listeners, has actually suggested a Billy versus Ryan 2-bar battle. That's
Yeah.
something maybe you could
Oh,
put together.
I'd love to see that.
Yeah,
Love to see that.
that's cool. I'm trying to think where that would go. Do they mean like a virtual goalie wars, or do they just mean like a shot versus shot, like who did it better kind of a thing, or what?
I don't know. Whatever you
They
decide.
could
You run the
variety.
collection.
they could do a horse thing like the NBA is going to be doing. They could each do a shot, or one do a shot, and the other has to do that shot. And,
Yeah, now if
they
you're
don't
talking
have to be in
about
the
them
same
actually
place.
doing something, that would be really cool.
Mhm.
I would
Great
definitely
idea.
be all about that. Yeah, and now that I guess I've seen Billy out on tour a few more times in recent years than so maybe that could happen. Who knows? When we start playing foosball again, we'll have to bug them about
May
it
that
until they
may that be
decide to
soon.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
Clay,
guys,
what are you doing? What are you doing during this time, Clay? Are you practicing at all?
Yeah, I'm practicing hiding from my duties as a parent. I'm staying in. No, I don't have
Confined
a
space.
foosball table. I don't have a foosball table anymore. I sold it
Oh,
because I practiced too much. I spent way too many hours on the table, so I actually got rid of it back in 2016. I had it for like 3 months, and I was like, you know what? I'm going overboard with this, which is standard. That's part of the course, par for the course.
Isn't
So
that
my
what all
only life
foosball players do? They go overboard.
that's kind
it's
of
an
how we
obsession.
usually roll. Yeah, I agree with that. So now that we're not really having any local stuff. I mean, I try to go to the local stuff as much as possible. And now that we don't have that, my skills are probably receding quite a bit. But that's okay because I have a computer with a whole bunch of screens and video editing software, and I can just kind of make fun. Um, my foosball cave is inside my computer, so I'm
Very
just
cool.
trying
Yeah,
to
you're doing
build
that
that.
because somebody needs to chronicle all this. There's so
Cool.
much of it.
Well, I'm happy to
Fantastic.
do it. And like I said, everything I do is it's from the Inside Foos TV complete collection. It's one of the best investments I've made in foosball.
Right.
And I can't imagine being a fan and not buying that. And I've had mine for like almost 5 years now, and I love it. It's fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
well,
Never ending
thank you for that,
entertainment.
Clay.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
All
I'm
right,
proud
guys.
of it. It's my life's work. I'm certainly proud of it. And 27 years of foosball. And of course, you can head over to InsideFoods.com if you're interested in that.
And
so
you should be proud of it, Jim.
yeah,
Good work.
no doubt. I would say that we're getting to the point here where we have to wrap the show for our first ever premiere episode of FoosTalk Live. I'm looking forward to Fridays in the future. If we're still locked in, we could do Fridays. Maybe when we start playing foosball again, we can start doing it on another night. But because here in the 518, we play Friday nights, and so have to change it
All
up.
right.
But what do you guys say? One more thing before we go. I'd like to send this out to our listeners. What we're looking for in the next episode is your best one-liner trash talking. So, in one line or less, what's your best trash talking line? I'll give you an example.
I
The
wish I was
80s.
as good as you're not.
Yeah, there you go. Great one. I like that. Or how about this one? The 80s call. They like their fibro back. Something to that effect. But so,
Wah, wah, wah.
yeah.
Yeah, and we're going to try to have topics. We're going to try to have guests, etc. And we'd love to have interaction from everybody out there who are listening moving forward, because that's really what this is all about, isn't it, Tom? I was lucky enough
Yes.
to grow up in Los Angeles during the golden era of talk radio. And I mean, I was religiously listening to it all the time. And I love talk radio. And to be able to do it for foosball, I think really opens up a whole new way of communicating, interacting, and sort of building ideas, exchanging ideas. And I really look forward to this format.
Oh,
And
yeah.
Tom Robinson, in case those of you who don't know, Tom is a radio pro, worked in the business and still works as a voiceover guy, but worked in the business for many years on both sides of the microphone, I believe, and understands this business inside and out. It's really a pleasure to work with you.
Well, thank you so much. It's that's I'm flattered you would say that, and I do love flying by the seat of my pants, man. It's old school, no net, no delay. It's just it goes out and it's not. You can't take it back, right?
No, that's right. That's right. And I love that. I love that. That's the way it should be.
Yes, absolutely. But thanks again, guys. Greatly appreciate you. First of all, Brad and Clay, thanks for being part of the show. The first episode.
Matt also.
Oh yes, and Matt McCrory, thanks for joining us. We're honored to have everybody join in and help us out with this project we've got going in conjunction with Foosball Radio and Inside Foos TV. It's FoosTalk Live. We'll be back again next Friday. Right, guys?
That's right. We'll be live next Friday.
I'll
However,
be here.
this show and each week, we are going to share them across all our platforms. That means Inside Foos TV. It means Foosball Radio. It means Jim Stevens, Inside Foos, and every other platform that we can on Facebook and everywhere else. So that the recorded version of this, the podcast of this, will also be available to listen to after the fact.
All right. Very good. Well, thanks again, Jim. Thanks again, Chuck and Nino. And happy birthday to Sammy D.
Yeah, it's a big day. Happy birthday, 12, Sam. Life changes for you today, buddy.
Yes, exactly. All right. Take care, guys. We'll get together again next week at the same time on FoosTalk Live.
Nino, Chuck.
Till then, Tom.
We'll see you. We'll see you, Foos.